That right there is an awesome piece of history. And this one tooth is the nicest shark tooth I've ever found. It's got all the serrations. It's a little baby Apalachicola alligator snap. This is the biggest thing I found, so a rib from probably a bison or a horse. Alright, we're out here. I got Caitlin, my mom, my son, my whole family, and the cooter, and Alexis. And we're all going to go look for fossils together. So, hopefully we'll find some stuff, and we really want to find some part of a Mastadon. But anything will be amazing. Hopefully we'll see some good stuff. I got scuba gear, so I got 2 tanks. Plan on spending a long time out here. Okay. Welcome to the voiceover, guys. First things first, I'm happy to be back making videos. I know I was gone for a little bit there, but to be honest with you, I've just had a lot going on. Me and my wife recently had a kid, so kind of adjusting to that new parent life and been really busy with work, but glad to be out here, glad to be making a video. As you can see here, I'm finding some nice dugong rib sections down in the bottom of this deep, dark river, and a few horse teeth as well, which you'll see. But to find these guys, I'm just sifting through the sand here, kind of fanning when I see anything sticking out. Here's a nice bone from probably a white-tailed deer. I was checking to see if it was fossilized. As you can see, it's really dark and spooky around these limestone outcroppings underneath the water in those river bends. I found a lot of weird stuff like this metal, a lot of stuff that doesn't belong on the bottom of a river, but you'll also find lots of bone fragments when you're down in these areas from both Ice Age bone like this, that was a horse tooth fragment, and also dugong rib sections are really common because those guys are super dense, so they fossilize really well. A dugong is an ancient manatee. There's actually dugongs still alive today, but not the species I'm finding here. And you'll notice I do a lot of fanning. Well, I say a lot. I mostly try to do it if it's in an area where I think there's going to be something. I'm pretty strategic when it comes to where I fan, because I don't want to end up messing up fish beds or anything like that. So I try to fan where I see stuff sticking out, or if I think there might be something there. And in this area you can see I found a few little bone fragments, but nothing too spectacular. This is pretty cool. This is a intermediate musk turtle. These are pretty common in the rivers and creeks around here. I just found this little piece of bone. I like that. It's very smooth. Huh. And, here's my snaggle tooth. Alright, yeah, yep. And then Lex found this. I think this is a tiger shark, right? Huh. Maybe. Yeah, I didn't find a whole lot down there, to be honest. Really? After leaving there, we went to a different spot, and I was pleasantly surprised when I saw this sticking out of the sand, so I started fanning a little bit, and it looked like sections of a rib bone, but this time not a dugong. It looks like an Ice Age mammal. So I started fanning to see what came out, and I got these little fragments. So I started picking them up, because usually when you find a lot of fragments like this close together, they belong to the same creature. Now this doesn't. This is actually a piece of turtle shell. That was a pretty large turtle. So I kept checking around there, and I'm finding lots of little pieces of turtle shell, and then boom, I pulled this out. This is a piece of a mastodon's tooth, a mastodon molar. Mastodons were ancient elephants, very similar to mammoths, and their teeth are huge, so that was just the enamel from the outside. This is more of that rib that I ended up exposing, just checking around in this gravel here. I was seeing what that was, but didn't look very interesting. It looked kind of like another piece of the rib. But it's super cool to find different parts of the same animal like that. Also got on some pretty good stuff like this gator tooth here. Those are always a treat to find. Oh, whoa. Whoa. What is it? I don't know.
Where am I toe?
Big intermediate musk turtle.
See it orange?
That's that piece of orange, but I don't know what that is. Huh. And then we got big sand tiger. Alright, so we were out here looking for fossils, and Alexis just pulled this little guy out of the water. It's a little baby Apalachicola alligator snapping turtle. And it's been years since I've seen one of these, so I'm very happy with that. That completely makes my day. Such a cute little guy. This guy's still got his little belly button right there from when he was in the egg. So, and he has no algae on him, so he can't be very old. He is tiny. That's probably the smallest one I've ever seen. Maybe 100 years from now, he could be close to 200 pounds. So yeah, we're going to take a few voucher photos of him and save the location, send it to my buddy Greg, and we're going to let him go. But like I said, that makes my day. That is such a cool find. You can see all the little growths on his shell, all the little bumps and ridges that algae is meant to attach to camouflage him. He doesn't even have any of that yet. He's so new.
Sure, I guess. Are you?
Yeah.
You should send me the stuff you got of him in the water there. What is he? He's so silly.
Go on. He's like, I'm just a floating leaf. Don't mind me. There he goes.
That's so funny.
And now I sit here.
Okay.
That's where he was when we got him.
That's where he was?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was like a little farther that way.
Like a little bit. Like
Yeah. We're having good luck with the turtles today. We just found this gopher tortoise crossing the road, so we're making sure he gets off safely. So cool. He's probably going back to his path and he's about to go walk it again.
Yeah.
I hope he's not. I hope he's going home.
Catch a shuttle at the end.
We're taking a break here. Been fossil hunting all day. Just show a couple of things we found. So I got a few good things in here, but I'll show you the best two things that I've gotten. These are both teeth that belong to Ototus auriculatus, which is basically the great granddaddy to the Megalodon. And this one tooth is the nicest shark tooth I've ever found. It's got all the serrations. Tip, there's not a blemish on this thing. Looks like he never even used it, to be honest. This one's a little banged up, but still, both really cool finds. Much older than Megalodon. Megalodon was around up to about 20 million years ago. These guys were around, I believe, like 30 to 40 million years ago. Old teeth. Completely fossilized. Then Taylor just spotted this beautiful little brown water snake. Cute little guy. I've never seen one this small. They give birth to live young. So usually when I see them, they're pretty big. Most snakes that give birth to live young give birth to bigger babies. But this little guy is tiny. I've never actually seen a brown water snake that small.
Maybe he's premature.
He looks a little funky, to be honest. So I can't really go into detail on everything I found at the moment because I've got everything packed up. But it's been awesome out here today. Beautiful scenery. This is the biggest thing I found. It's a rib from probably a bison or a horse. Pretty cool. Alright guys, so I figured I'd show you how I put this rib back together since I found a few pieces of it. Now the frustrating part is I actually realized when I got home and I started piecing this thing together that I had actually found pieces of it in the past in the same area and didn't know what they were and didn't keep them. So unfortunately those pieces are lost to the river forever. And that's just how it goes. I mean, this stuff is slowly being eroded out of the banks of the creek or out of the creek bed, and as it comes out it breaks apart slowly and little bits and pieces of these fossils wash down the creek and settle in the bends of the creek in the deep areas, and there they'll just tumble with the rocks until they get ground up into dust basically. So that's why it's so rare to find whole things, and unfortunately if you're not there to find stuff when it first comes out, like that big auriculatus tooth that I found earlier, if you don't catch that as soon as it comes out, like the one I saw, it's getting banged up and it's going to be gone forever. that's part of what makes fossil hunting so cool, is because it's all very time sensitive, and if you're not there at the right moment and the right time on the right day, then you're gonna miss your shot at some pretty awesome stuff. Here's a piece of that turtle shell that fit together. I thought that was pretty cool. And since I've made this video, I've actually found a bigger piece of turtle shell, but at the time this was my biggest piece of fossilized turtle shell, so I was super happy about that. Here's some more of it, all associated. Turned out pretty well. I just used some super glue, and it worked pretty good for what I was trying to do here, I think. I'm sure there's better products out there for gluing bones back together, but this seemed to turn out pretty well for this either horse or bison, maybe even a large deer rib. Make sure we're super careful with that. Here's some of the other smaller stuff that I found on the trip. So this is, I called it a sand tiger tooth earlier, but I think it's just a lower mako, a very large one. And here's a small mako next to hemipristis tooth, which is this funky looking dude here. They're also called snaggletooth sharks. This is a piece of a deer jawbone with the tooth actually still in there, which is a pretty rare find. Like I said earlier, this stuff breaks up pretty quickly in these creeks. That's also a small meg tooth next to it that I found earlier. This is a nice histalis tooth. It wasn't found during the filming this video. I just thought I'd show it to you guys because it's really pretty. This is really cool. This is a gar scale. Fossilized, of course, so it's got some really neat colors to it, and look at how shiny that is. I love it. So cool. This is a stingray barb. It's not the whole thing, but it's just a section, and by the width of it, I'd say that was a huge stingray. We also did pretty well with Mastadon enamel. These are all pieces of Mastadon tooth enamel. Like I said earlier, Mastodons are ancient elephants that were very similar to mammoths, and they had some pretty huge teeth on them. They're also the first animal to be, or the first species to be recognized as extinct, so really neat. Here's one last look at this nice big rib bone that was all pieced together, and the turtle shell. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's about time to end the video now. It's nice to get back on the grind and making videos, and I will definitely be uploading more regularly in the near future. Bye guys.